Hi. I wasn't planning on making a video for a while, but I actually watch a lot of videos on YouTube on everything from, well, cute kitten videos. We are cat people, me and my girlfriend. We love kitties. To short science fiction, things like that. I do constantly check other people's content on camper van builds, camper builds, things like that. Well, a couple videos I've seen are giving really super bad advice on backup power. What they're doing is they say they're using a quick start or a jump box to run an inverter in one of these. Now this little heater doesn't pull a lot of power. It's 120 volts, 250 watts, and it's 270 watts starting. That's actually a lot of power to be pulling out of a starting battery or a jump start battery. And what I'm talking about is one of these. Has the air compressor, the clamps, light. This one has a USB and a 12 volt. Okay. Now the reason, and you can see it is fully charged. The reason you cannot, sorry about that. The reason you cannot or should not rely on something like this for backup emergency power is they're not made to actually do that. These batteries in these put out a lot of power at one time to help start a vehicle, a jump start. That's why they're called jump start or jump packs. Let me get back to what I was saying. Anyway, I was watching a video, and these people live in a trailer, and they say they have one of these, and they show it, and they say they have an inverter hooked up to it, and they run one of these. No. Will my jump pack run this heater? Absolutely, for about 5 to 7 minutes before my pack is drawn so far down that it shuts the alarm on the jump start pack, or it shuts the inverter down. These are not made to put out constant power. They are made to put out a great deal of power at one time, and that's it. Relying on something like this, if you are thinking about emergency situations, is a foolish idea. Now, I also have a Road Pro 12 volt electric blanket over here on my bed. I will show it to you. And if I plug it into this, I can let it run an hour or so, and this electric blanket 12 volt will not heat up fully. I mean, it will barely warm up, because this isn't made to kick out a constant source of power. It is made to put out a great deal of power at one time. Now, if you're going to get something like this, can you charge a cell phone from it? Absolutely. Can you charge little bitty petty stuff? Sure. But remember, this doesn't most likely have any more power than your car battery. So if your car battery would go down just having something plugged in, this would too. But this probably much quicker. And Like I said, if you want to use it for a backup of little petty stuff, I have a fan behind me, the little USB fan. I do have the electric blanket here. I can't get it in the picture yet. It is laying on my bed. I will show it to you. This electric blanket is the extra large, okay? And it is small. Do not plan on covering up with this completely because it will never work. It's really small. You would be better off with a good sleeping bag than something like this, especially if you're trying to power this thing. The electric blanket uses, oh, let's see, where is it? Let me get the paperwork here. It's 12 volt, 4.5 amps, actually just over 4.5 amps. Let's see if I can find it. It's on the blanket, it's on the tag. Anyway, it's down here. I believe. Yes, 12 volt, 55 watts is what this blanket uses. So that will be a 4.5 to 4.53 amps. Figure 5 amps while this blanket is working. So if you're pulling 5 amps out of something like this jump start behind me, it is going to go down very quickly. And even if it doesn't, it's not going to get full power out of this device behind me. Having something like this to jumpstart your car with is absolutely fine. Having something like this to charge a cell phone, or maybe even a tablet, maybe. This battery's not made to discharge at a slow rate like a deep cycle battery. The battery in this is charged, you know, it's made to discharge a great deal of power at one time. But when I saw that video, and I've seen a couple videos like this, these aren't Jackeries, which are like $1,600. These are these cheap little jump starters that are $40 to $79, something like that. And a lot of people are going to make comments. Well, you can buy these with inverters built in. Absolutely, you can. I have owned one. The inverter is maybe 120 watt at max, and that's for a very short amount of time. And usually those are extremely big. The batteries in there are much bigger. They're a little bit heavier. But the one I saw was basically something like I have, where these people were running so-called, supposedly, one of these off of one of these jump packs and inverter. It will not work. I'm telling you, do not run out and buy one of these packs and buy one of these little heaters and inverter, because it's not going to power this for more than a few minutes. These are not made that way. Let me demonstrate. Now, I'm not going to hook that up because that heater, I would have to hook up an inverter, and that heater would just kick off within a couple minutes, and the alarm is really annoying. But let me demonstrate here. I already showed you it's full charged. Little bitty mini fan, no problem. Something like this, it would run for quite a while on something like this. Now here's the plug to the electric blanket. This is a 12 volt. And it is not very big at all. Look at that. Almost instantly that went down to halfway down as soon as I plugged that blanket in. I don't know if you can see that. And now look. It says that battery is down. I don't know if you can see the light. Over here was fully charged, middle, and dead. I mean, seriously, this thing's reading dead. Now, if I turn the USB plug off, this is still on, which is to that. But, I mean, it drew that much power out that quickly because this is made to discharge a great deal of power. Look at that. Now I can leave this plugged in. Will something like that heat this electric blanket up? Not really. If you're going to get an electric blanket like this, 12 volt, remember it's 55 watts, 12 volts, and that's 4.5, 2 or 3 amps. So you need something that'll discharge a slower rate than a pack like this, a jump starter. These jump starters are great if you're trying to start a vehicle. They're great if you have to charge something that's really petty, or if you need to use the air compressor on it. Because remember, a lot of these have air compressors built in. That takes up room. A lot of them have lights built in. A lot of them have USBs built in. So this one here, I believe it ran me like 70 bucks when I first purchased it. That's a lot of money to be kicking out for a battery. Yes, there is a light on it, and yes, you can jump your vehicle with it. But if you're wanting to emergency power, look at your local Walmart. I mean, these things are $79, $78, $79, clear up to $140, $150 with the inverters built in, and those don't last very long either. So, my advice, if you want to take it for what it's worth, if you're looking for something for extra power for when the lights go out, or if you have to run something, even if you have to buy 7, 9, 12 amp hour batteries that are more deep cycle, you'd be better off, because you could get a couple decent, not great, but decent 12 amp hour batteries for the price of this thing. You know, if that's the route you want to go. Like I said, if you want something for backup power, don't rely on something like this. It is not made to put out that type of power. So if you're watching a video, and I've watched 2 or 3 videos where they've been running, once again, off an inverter, stuff like this, they're lying to you. It will run this, but only for a couple minutes. And if they're telling you that they're using this, even if it's 4 times a night for 10 minutes each time, they're not being truthful. These battery packs are not made to do that. Once again, I could hook this up, but it would immediately, pretty much within a couple minutes, set the alarm off on that thing, and I would have to plug it back in to get it to charge back up. That's how much power would come out of that battery, just off this little bitty heater. So if you want something small, a little fan like this little 4-inch fan, will it run it? Of course it will. They don't take that much power, but it will actually go least amount of time, or less amount of time, than if you just had a couple cheap deep cycle batteries. They would actually run a lot longer than this, even with this little fan. Don't fall for what people are telling you. If you're going to get some type of battery pack for emergency power, do not buy one of these things for a backup emergency power. They're not made for that. Even the ones with the inverters built in do not last that long, and those inverters are like 100 watt max for a short amount of time, like a couple seconds. So could you run a light off one of them? Sure. Could you run anything else off one of them with the inverters built in? No. They're not made for that. Those batteries in these things are not made to discharge at a slow rate. They're made to discharge quickly. So, you know, I'm feeling the blanket right now. I mean, it's... a lot of it is still cold from when I had in the pack. It's barely warmish, if that. Underneath the blanket, it's barely warmish. And it's a fleece blanket, so, you know, any type of fleece is going to warm up, at least keep you warm. I have tried the blanket in the car. It doesn't warm up to the point where it would keep you from freezing to death if you were stuck somewhere. It doesn't warm up to where it would keep you comfortable sleeping at night unless you had this thing plugged in to a pretty good battery setup to where it could draw power constantly and a decent amount of power, you know, to keep it hot and keep it warm. And they say in their warnings that you're supposed to use it on top of another blanket. So, and I was wrong about something, even though my figures added up to 4.52 watts or amps or something like that. This says it draws 4.6 amps. At 55 watts. I was close, but I mean I'm running off this battery pack back here, this jump starter. It's not going to do much for you. Like I said, I wasn't planning on making a video, but then I watched a video or two, actually I think 2, maybe 3, I think I watched 3, where people are using these and saying you can use this for emergency power. In a situation where you have to charge a cell phone, sure. Where you have to charge like an MP3 player, something small, sure. Where you have a USB fan, sure. You can do that. But running anything like this, there's no way. Running the electric blanket with the constant amount of power it's pulling, it's not going to last long. And it's not going to warm up to where it needs to be to keep you warm or keep you from freezing. Once again, the little fan, sure, it'll run this for a little while. But then again, so would your car battery, just plugging this into an adapter into your cigarette lighter. But if you're going to run something, even something like this, I recommend not using one of these. I recommend just using a deep cycle battery, cheap deep cycle battery, because it would last longer. Let's check this again. Yeah, you can see the red light's on. I hope you can see that. And you're probably going, well, if it puts out all this power at one time, why did it draw the battery down like that from full charge to dead? Well, these do put out a massive amount of power at one time. But if you plug something into it that draws constant power, it's going to go dead quicker. Now, if I unplug this, and another reason is the 12 volt plug, it may only be able to kick out 3 amps. You don't know. This pulls 4.6 amps, so figure 5 amps. So unless this plug can kick out 5 amps, it's not going to work right anyway. But I'm pretty sure it kicks out more than 5 amps. But even if it was just 5 amps, this should work. But the battery is not made to keep a constant draw on it. It's made to just kick out power, and that's it. Once again, so let's turn this on. I can turn the light off and say power, and it's still going to there. Look at that. Now it's on halfway down. That's just with having an electric blanket plugged in for a short amount of time. It's halfway down on the battery with this little bitty fan going. So once again, absolutely do not run out and buy one of these for backup power because someone told you to. Because you saw a video where they're running one of these little heaters 4 or 5 times a night because they're lying to you. They're not doing that. Don't waste your money on this. If it's for backup power, either get a dual cycle marine battery, which you can get one for about the price of one of these, if not cheaper, or order you some deep cycle batteries offline, even if you have to link 2 or 3 of them together to get a decent amount of power. 2 deep cycle 12 amp hour batteries is still 12 amp hours, but if they're deep cycle, you can drain them down to at least 50%. So, you know, that's going to give you a pretty good amount of running time, especially on something small like this fan. Once again, don't fall for it. Don't fall for seeing something online on a video and expect it to be real, because a lot of times it's not. A lot of times people are making things just for views and they know it's not going to work, and then you'll run out and buy something because they showed it to you. Anyway, I wanted to make a video on this because I keep seeing videos on people running things off of these. They're not going to run things, and if they do, it won't run for long. Alright, anyway, I'm fixing to go. Like I said, I wasn't planning on making a video today, at least anytime soon, but after I saw this one, and I already saw another one, and I'm pretty sure I saw another one before that, like last week or something, where they're using one of these and saying they can run a heater and they can run this and that off an inverter. Absolutely not. These are not made to run heavy draw, period, for a long amount of time. They're made to kick out a great deal of power at one time to try to jumpstart a vehicle. Anyway, I'm fixing to go. I hope that this keeps you from having to buy something like this and expecting it to work for a backup power source, because it's not going to work the way you want it to. Alright, that's it. I'm fixing to go, and everyone have a good day. Bye.